he worked really closely with JB Bickerstaff to kind of pick a team that could play the style JB wanted to play. And like I mentioned earlier, Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., even Dennis Schroeder aren't known for being these elite defenders. So the fact that he was able to get that out of them is insane. And they're also not known for being too quick. I mean, they're older players, but they're coming into a system that's near the top in defense and number 2 in fast break scoring. So there's a really good cohesion, and I feel like in the past, the Pistons have always had this sort of multi-brained sort of approach to building the team, but it feels very united with this crew. Speaking of the old crews that weren't very united, Troy Weaver, former Pistons general manager, and then after that, senior advisor for the Wizards, was hired as the general manager for the New Orleans Pelicans under Joe Dumars. So 2 big Pistons connections there. I don't really understand how Troy got a job that quickly of that status, because we saw what he did in Detroit. He was actually a really good scout, and I don't think anybody is going to say he was a bad scout. But that's not what it takes to be a GM. It takes everything. It takes all the different facets of the role. Joe Dumars as well built that 04 championship team when nobody thought those guys would be anything. So,
but then he also ran a lineup of Josh Smith, Greg Monroe, and Andre Drummond out there. So
yeah, he lived in the past for a while. He didn't evolve quickly enough. Troy Weaver, I don't want to talk too bad about the guy because he obviously led us to getting a lot of the pieces that went into this roster. But I do think Trajan Langdon was the one who was able to piece it together by putting complementary role players that actually fit. Because let's say Troy Weaver was here. I don't think the Pistons would be in the play-in because he wouldn't have put the players around Cade. If you're talking about the players that Cade passed it to this year and got assists to, Jalen Duren, obviously number 1 pick-and-roll partner, one of the best pick-and-roll duos in the NBA. Number 3, 4, 5 were Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, and Tobias Harris. That's assists too. So
yeah,
I don't know. Do you think Trajan's success led to Troy Weaver getting a job quickly?
Well, you have to remember that what Troy Weaver did before Detroit was in OKC, and another big thing was his scouting in OKC, right? And I can't exactly put the names to Troy Weaver that he was scouting in his time in OKC, but that was a big reason that we hired him, was his player development, his scouting. Like, he had a good eye. And you can credit, I mean, he made some really good picks. Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart were great picks for where we got him at. Trading back for Duren, or what was it? Did we trade back for Duren?
No, it was trading
out for Duren, or
trading just in for Duren. I don't think it was trading
in
up.
for Duren. Yeah. Either way, making the move for Duren, another really, really valuable move there. And I don't know if I would ever consider Cade something that Troy did. I think it more or less just fell into his lap. I mean, maybe at the time I remember us considering like Jalen Green was possibly the number 1 pick, but so maybe if you give him credit for taking Cade over Jalen Green, but I think everybody unanimously thought it was going to be Cade.
Yeah. Actually, interrupting you real quick, I think it was Mobley, because we know Troy Weaver's fascination with centers. I mean, he stockpiled them, man. He stockpiled them. We know he would have taken James Wiseman over Anthony Edwards, over LaMelo Ball, if they had the number 1 pick that year. Cade Cunningham is one of those guys where I just don't know how he wasn't number 1 consensus the entire time. And I've talked to people close to the team that have mentioned that it literally was the day of the draft. He woke up and was still trying to figure out if he was going 1 or who was going 1. So
that's scary, man.
It's scary. It's scary, but at the same time, it's like you're doing your due diligence, but also it's like the right pick's in front of you, and that's also me and you as a fan coming in and saying that. But it just
okay. That's what they did with Darko. They woke up one day in one workout with Darko and thought he was the pick. So, like, I just feel like sometimes you got to trust your gut. And at the time, we shouldn't have trusted our gut with Darko. You trust your gut with Cade Cunningham, and obviously it worked out. So we're not even talking about the past anymore. I just got to say, I feel for the Pelican fans. I hope everything goes well. I love Zion. I want to see Zion, have a great career. And especially if he can do that in New Orleans for the rest of his career, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, losing out, Dyson was a huge piece to lose out on. And then it's just the injury bug. And now you lose out on Brandon Ingram for virtually nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown's good, but like that's for Brandon Ingram.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens with Zion because I think there has been reports that Zion is going to be traded. That was kind of the ownership's requirement for Joe D. Going back a little bit, I do think the fit with Weaver and Dumars is at least intriguing because it puts two really good basketball minds together. I think the fault with Troy Weaver was not having a president above him, and because it was funneled that a lot of the stuff came directly from Troy, but in the background there was was it a Stefanski and then a Tellum kind of dictating also in the background, making picks or deciding on picks. But having Weaver mixed with a Joe Dumars and those guys being kind of the leads of that Pelicans organization, I think could be really intriguing. So, I would be scared if I was a Pelicans fan looking at what happened with the Pistons, but I think you have to look at the success that both have had previous in their careers before it fell off.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and we also can't hate completely on Troy Weaver. Like we said, he brought in a lot of these pieces. He was able to make some of these moves. Now, on the other hand, he had some pretty terrible asset management and just insane love for just these project big guys. But you also can't hate on him a ton for that one Monty season either, because just how awful everything went. Went. Like the whole Killian playing more and starting over Jaden Ivey, that kind of stuff. Like I don't, hate on him too much for that season specifically. You got to give him some love and some credit for what he was able to bring to Detroit at least.
Yeah, and I'm curious how much of that year resulted from the coach Monty Williams and Troy Weaver not having that unison thought process when it came to
being on the same page.
Yeah, being on the same page. Yeah. Thank you for helping me come up with a better series of words in a row.
Yeah.
But Troy Weaver, man, good luck to you. Pelicans fans, good luck to you. We're not going to trash on your guy anymore.